I'm Linda Escalante, Associate for Latino Outreach and Advocacy at the LA office of the Natural Resources Defense Council. But I also do communications work for Verde, our Latino outreach program. I've always been very passionate about biological sciences, and as I developed into an adult, I realized that there was this macro world of our impact on natural resources, and I became an environmentalist. I'd always had this fascination for understanding the processes of life, and I started to become very interested in large species conservation, especially mammals, because large mammals tend to be good indicators for the health of the overall ecosystem. I had the opportunity, and I was lucky that there was an opening for the marine mammal program of NRDC, and that was really the hook for me. All I had to read was marine mammals, and I decided that whatever it was that I had to do, I wanted to be a part of. There has been really a vacuum of information about environmental issues in Spanish language in the United States. So in 2002, NRDC decided to reach out to the Latino community. We needed to find a way to offer this information in the Spanish language. So we developed La Onda Verde, which is our moniker for the green wave, and this is a way to get the Latino community involved, bringing them into the environmental movement so they can empower themselves and improve the quality of their life. I've had the opportunity to start working with Telemundo, which is one of the two major Spanish-speaking television networks in the United States. Their LA bureau and Dunia Elvir, the anchor for one of their stations, Channel 22, invited me to do a segment on one of their newscasts every Friday to talk about environmental issues that affect the community. They can come to NRDC, to La Onda Verde, for whatever information they need about the environment. So now NRDC is the go-to organization for this kind of information. Latinos in general are avid news readers and news watchers. I know that in the United States, the primetime newscasts for both Telemundo and Univision outrank any other English-speaking newscast in the country.
We met Linda Escalante through Adriana Quintero, who's an attorney for NRDC. This was a couple of years ago when we were doing some segments for the network, especially for the morning show, and we realized that she's very eloquent. She kind of identified herself with the community, and the community liked that connection. Linda brings a lot of special talents to our news team. She's very knowledgeable, and she always explains in a very simple language that the general audience can understand.
El proceso de la producción, los materiales, por ejemplo, el poliéster, casi todos los materiales sintéticos utilizan petróleo, que ya sabemos que el petróleo es uno de nuestros graves.
In the past, generally speaking, environmental issues were not part of any newscast in the Hispanic community. We don't have a lot of experts speaking about the importance of taking care of our planet. She's one of the few, so she can really have a strong impact in our community.
Working for NRDC is just a complete privilege, and it really is a wonderful opportunity to be able to do what I want to do with my life. I have the privilege to work with incredible people like Joel Reynolds, the director of the LA office, and Adriana Quintero, our La Onda Verde director. During college, I started working for a Latino asthma program for Department of Pediatrics at UCLA, and that was really a formative period of my life because I learned about health disparities, and I also learned that our communities were so greatly impacted by environmental factors that, you know, most of the time we take for granted, but there's a lot of families, especially underprivileged families, that are faced with more polluted air, live next to transportation hubs or big factories in inner cities where minorities tend to be disproportionately impacted, and they are the least empowered to make changes. The language barriers put the Latino community at a great disadvantage because they don't know about the problems that face them in their communities and much less about the solutions. So it is very important that we are able to bridge that gap and provide as much information as we can to the community in their language. After my son was born, I started to care about the air we breathe and the natural and essential resources, which before I took for granted, but now are becoming ever more scarce or toxic. So protecting him and the world I have brought him into became my biggest priority. And I think that everyone should think about that, because it will be our future generations, our children and our grandchildren, who will be facing the biggest impacts of all this environmental destruction.